Hey there, guys. So, another day training in lockdown. Fingers crossed it ends this week. I'm obviously living in Victoria, Australia. So, yeah, today, Monday, front squats. I think a lot of people, overcomplicate things when it comes to training legs. I've literally just spent an hour, and the only thing I've been doing is front squatting. Different reps, sets, different weight. Today was sort of like a lighter day compared to Thursday, but still worked up to some decent weight. Did 150 for fives, no hands, and paused, and then just a whole lot of like back off sets. Just played around with the reps. Some were paused midway on the way down. Some were paused on the up phase. Some obviously at the base. I was just playing around literally with all different techniques and stances, just to sort of hit the quads from as many different angles, just using one exercise. And I think, when you have time to play around, with a movement and under load, you get a really good appreciation for how your body works, where your exact weaknesses are, and then how to address them. So tonight for me, I found on the descent, I really struggled to hold tension in a particular area. It was sort of 2/3 of the way down. My lower back and abs didn't really like communicating to each other, so it put me in a really weak position. So that's just something for me to work on. I found a new weakness. I'm going to address it and obviously strengthen that area and hope to see some significant gains on the front squat. That's pretty much it when it comes to, just playing around with weight. I think a lot of people should probably take a little bit more time with their training in terms of really perfect one exercise or play around with it as much as you possibly can and find out how your body responds to that movement. If you do 10 sets of, say, front squats and that's all you did for legs, I guarantee you the next day your quads are really going to feel quite sore, but more importantly, you're going to feel what part of your quad actually was worked most thoroughly. So for me, when I do a lot of, front squats, I predominantly feel it in my medialis. So that's the one closest to the inside of your leg. Versus, if I let my form get sloppy, I feel it a lot more on my lateralis, so on the outside of my leg, and that's simply because my knees, cave in. So, if I'm getting tight and sore, I have a very good idea of what part of my technique broke down and why. And it's really good for like learning how to avoid injuries. So, if you wake up the next day and go, oh, I'm really tight in the hips, my ITB band is killing me, you can figure out a lot of different, things that are going wrong with your technique, especially if you can remember what you did the previous session and how you did it, where you placed your feet, different positions. Did you let your chest drop forward? Did you keep your chest up? It's just all useful information, and it's one of those things that over time is going to help you become a better lifter, because injury in this game puts you out for quite some time. You work back up to whatever your 1RM was. You're in uncharted territory again. If something else gets injured and sore, well, you could be having another setback. Versus if you take the time to really find out how you lift and where your particular strengths and weaknesses are, it's going to make you a much better lifter long term. So for me, this will be my 14th year of powerlifting when October rolls around. So, in that time, I haven't had any major injuries. I've had no muscle tears that have required surgery or things like that. I've obviously had, your normal niggles injuries along the way, but just minor things. The only thing that ever really hurt me was when I did my calf. I tore my calf at a Bucks party, and that was completely, not related to lifting whatsoever. And I injured it in all things playing bubble soccer, where you wear that inflatable sort of ball thing around you and you collide with other people. And, I hit two people as hard as I could at a sprint, pressed off my back leg to push myself really forward into the impact, and slightly tore my calf, and then went off for about 5 minutes. Thought it was just cramping. I had another heavy collision, tore it further. Yeah, it hurt. Went off for about 10 minutes. Thought, maybe it's just a really bad cramp. I'm not going to be soft. I'm going to go back on. Had another collision. Yeah, I tore it even further, and it, yeah, put me out for the rest of the bubble soccer match. But you know, if I'd listened to my body a little bit more and sort of, you know, it doesn't matter what sport you do, when you know things don't feel quite right and you have experience sort of in it, like if I'd done a lot of sprinting in the past, I would have understood the difference between what does a proper cramp feel like, what does, you know, tightness here feel like, what does it feel like the next day when I, you know, wake up? Is this normal soreness or have I done something else? They're all sort of useful things that you learn over time, but more so if you just pick one exercise, make it a very heavy focus for your session, because you learn so much more about it and just how it relates to your body. And I do that quite a lot with a lot of my exercises and a lot of the people who I online coach as well. Like their programs are not overly complicated. They have quite a simple program, all the work's there. But the biggest thing is like looking at technique, where things break down, getting them to adjust their stance, getting them to adjust bar positioning, getting them to, you know, squat with hips going back or pressing the knees out to the side. You know, when they wake up the next day, most of the work was from a particular movement. So they're going to get a very good idea of what feels tight, what feels sore. And then, you know, when they ask the questions, why do I feel sore doing such and such, I can give a much better, you know, explanation, because the amount of, you know, factors and, you know, things that could contribute to, say, an outcome that wasn't quite what I expected, minimized. So, basically, yeah, just take your time with training and just perfect movements. And the other thing is, same with the bench press as well. The more you do a movement, the more you're going to become more efficient at it from a neurological standpoint. Like your nervous system is going to be better adapted to firing those muscle fibers over and over and over, and you're going to become far more efficient at it. And as a result, you're going to recruit a higher percentage of muscle fiber compared to someone who just started. That's why they say when you first start lifting weights, you know, you don't put on much muscle mass, but a lot of it's neurological development. And yes, a lot of it is neurological development, but I guarantee you, and there are other studies to back it up, you can certainly put mass on in the first few weeks of training. Anyone who says, you know, you can't, well, go do your own research and you'll definitely find that, yeah, you certainly can. And it's been proven in many situations as well. But getting back to what I said, just keep your program simple, play around with one particular movement over and over to get the most out of it. And, you know, you're going to go a lot further as a lifter. So, hopefully this helped. Hopefully my lockdown, you know, going on here in this country in Victoria ends soon. Otherwise, I guess you're going to get quite a few more videos from me from the garage gym. For those of you that have literally watched the video from start to finish, if you guys have any questions or video requests, let me know. I have the time to make some really decent videos, so that'll also help with channel growth and the rest of it. So yeah, feel free to drop a comment below. If you guys haven't already, hit like and subscribe. Otherwise, have a great day wherever you are.